Hey gang, it's me. This video is going to be a little bit different than most of the other ones on account of the fact that I'm not going to edit it. I feel like if I ever want to talk about this cast, then now is really the only time that I can do it because this will be irrelevant by like tomorrow, maybe. This video is going to be completely unscripted. I don't have anything written down. I'm just going to be talking off the cuff about how I feel regarding this new season and the information that we've been given about it. So for those of you who don't know, OddNations has revealed that Season 5 is going to be a fans versus favorite season, a fact that they revealed today in ordinance with a Patreon goal. This is going to be a 24-person cast with 12 returnees on the left and 12 new fans on the right. And if I'm being honest, I've got a couple reservations about this cast. I have a lot less to say about the newbies on account of the fact that I know basically nothing about them, so we're gonna start there. In my subjective opinion, I don't like these new character designs as much as I like the designs for Season 4's cast. There are a few that I do like. Ara and Ernesto, for example, I think they look pretty good. But a lot of the others look really busy, and I don't think they fit in well with the cast of the previous seasons. Granted, I could just be feeling this way because these characters are new and I still need time to warm up to them, because Season 4 also had a few character designs that I had to warm up to. I'm not really the type of person that gets attached to characters based on design anyway. I think I need to see these people in action before I really get a feel for who they are, and from there I'll start to figure out which ones I like and who I don't. That's really all I have to say about the fans. We have their designs, I like some of them, I don't like others. That's pretty much it. The bigger concern, if you ask me, is who they plan on bringing back. The moment this roster was revealed, my friends and I jumped into VC and sort of just laughed about it because it's just not good. Not at all. We're gonna cover all of these characters, from the people who I'm honestly glad to see here to the ones that I'm not glad to see here, which is most of them. First and foremost, I think the person who most deserves to be here is obviously Rosa Maria. Even though she played a big role in Season 2, she got cut in All-Stars, so I honestly think a second season run is something she has earned. Given that the last time we saw her was in Season 2, a season that was rough around the edges, to say the least, I think it would be interesting to see what this new writing team decides to do with her. By that same metric, I also think Lake is a good choice. Not only does she have a connection with Rosa Maria, but she is a fan favorite and she didn't do very well in All-Stars, so I think a third season can work given that scenario. Natalia is definitely someone I want to see more of. She showed a lot of promise during Season 4, but unfortunately, because she was paired with Logan and Isabel, she got overshadowed pretty hard, and I think this season could be what sets her apart from them. And while I definitely don't think Alec and Fiore need another season, I'm gonna give them a pass on account of the fact that Season 1 has like no good options. Fiore was kinda heading towards a redemption arc at the end of All-Stars, so I imagine this season will probably try to make that official. Or do something else, I really don't know. So with those 5 characters, I am on board with the idea that they will be a part of this fans versus favorite season. As for the others, however, we start to run into a few problems. And by we, I mean I, because my opinion is subjective, and if you disagree with me, then yeah, you can do that. Starting with the least egregious example, while I don't really want Benji to be in this season, I can fully understand why he's here. Benji is easily one of the most popular characters introduced in Season 4. For some reason. But one of the big reasons as to why is due to his relationship with Tristan, who is the most popular character introduced in Season 4, and who is also very notably not on this cast. Granted, I can understand that OddNations might have gone into writing Trinji with the mindset that they wouldn't become as prominent as like Tom and Jake, Gabby and Ellie, even Zayd and Ivy to a degree. I understand that they might have gone into that with the notion that they were just going to be a cute couple on the sidelines, maybe people would ship them, you know, like that. Trouble is, if you're not going to bring Tristan back, then what is Benji actually going to do besides provide comic relief? And I say comic relief in just massive, massive air quotes. I understand why he's been brought back. It just so happens that the one storyline that I'd really want to see him complete is not going to be addressed in this season, I'm pretty sure. In the same vein as Benji, we have Gabby, who I think is pretty undisputably one of the most popular characters in the series, so I do get why she's here. But I'm struggling to see what they would even do with her. If I'm being honest, I think she ran her course in All-Stars, and there's nothing really I would want her to do in a new season besides getting off my screen and never showing her face to me ever again. Okay, that was a little bit excessive, but the point is, I think I've seen enough of Gabby, and I'm starting to get sick of seeing her just everywhere. And given how she went out around the midpoint in both of her previous seasons, I'm predicting she's going to make a deep run here. And just like off principle, looking at this cast, thinking about what they would realistically do with Gabby, I don't have high hopes that that deep run would be very enjoyable for me. Do we really need another season of You Vote Me Out? Because I don't want that. Then we have Aiden, who I honestly have some mixed feelings about. Because Lake and Rosa are here, he's got some people to actually fucking talk to, which is good. I did not need another season of him and Tom, or him and Jake. I don't hate this choice because I feel like his main role in this season is going to be supporting Lake and Rosa, and then he's gonna get knocked out sometime in the pre-merge. Which is totally fair. Just by doing some basic math, half of these favorites are going to leave relatively early, which you need. My problem with Benji, Gabby, and Aiden being in this cast is there were just so many better options that really could have been here instead. With so many characters, especially in Season 4, having so much to contribute to the show and so much potential to be made good on, I don't really think we need more of Benji, Gabby, and Aiden. Despite that, I still know why these three are here. They're not terrible choices, and I see the vision, but, you know, I just would have picked someone else. The real reason why this cast is so trash is because of the other three characters that I've yet to mention. Point blank, Tom, Allie, and Spencer have negative reasons to be in this cast. I like Spencer, alright? Like, he wasn't perfect, but I genuinely enjoyed most of what he did in Season 4, and I will die on the hill that I think for the most part, he was a good character. That being said, however, he dominated most of the screen time in that season and was on basically all of the thumbnails. Why is he here? I know a lot of the Tom Jake fans really like him, but most of the discourse I've seen surrounding Spencer has been divisive at best and fairly negative at worst. Most of the people I know were celebrating when Spencer got eliminated, and if that's not a sign that the majority of the fandom has had enough of him, then I don't know what is. He is more of a main character in Season 4 than half of the people who are still in. He does not need this. That being said, I do think he's a good character, and obviously they enjoy writing him. It wouldn't be Armageddon if he were to come back in this season. I mean, as much screen time as he had in Season 4, it's not like he had his own spin-off or anything. You know, like some people. Why is Tom in this cast? A lot of people paid a lot of good money to give this man his own spin-off so he wouldn't have to be here. And while I am aware that Tom has an insane amount of fans, he also has an insane amount of haters and people who just generally don't want to see him everywhere they go. Myself included. I've seen the argument being floated around that, oh, it's Tom by himself without Jake. That's good, right? And my response to that is, if this is the version of Tom that I saw in All-Stars and the Tom Jake spinoff, I don't want to see that guy with anyone. In my personal opinion, I think both Tom and Jake have run their course as characters. There's nothing more that needs to be done with them. I don't think they need to appear in any more seasons. I think Tom Jake Season 2 can just be a nice little way of retiring both of these characters. Their storyline is done, and I do not think either of them are good enough to be a part of any more. Now, harsh as that might be for me to say, I talk about Disventure Camp for money. I've spent probably 12 hours of my life just watching Tom, and outside of the early stuff, not much of it was very fun for me. And even though most of you don't run a YouTube channel primarily based around Disventure Camp, I'm willing to bet that a lot of you agree with me on that. Now, because All-Stars was so bad for Tom, and a lot of these people to be honest, I've heard the theory floating around that OddNations is going to use this season to build those people back up, to try and fix those characters that All-Stars didn't write very well. And I think that's an incredible idea, but that kind of feels like we'd be treading some old ground. Do we really need that in a new season? Gosh, this is really confusing. Maybe if we had some sort of dedicated side series dedicated to all of these characters and continuing their story in some small way, then we can make this work. I don't know if we have anything like that, though. Some kind of series that takes the original Disventure Camp cast, but puts its own spin on them. Ooh, I got it. Maybe if we all give OddNations a lot of money, they'd be willing to make that show for us. Until that happens, though, I don't really fuck with Tom anymore, and I'm not looking forward to watching another season with him in it, so, yeah. Now, I don't expect everyone watching this video to have my exact same opinions. I believe a lot of you are probably fans of this cast, and that's fair. In particular, I've seen a lot of people defend this cast with the argument that this is a fans versus favorite season, not an underdog season, so OddNations is going to prioritize the popular characters rather than the ones who could benefit from another season. Now, this is not a bad argument by any means. I can see why people are making this claim. I just disagree with it for two reasons. Firstly, I think that an underdog season would have given the writers a lot more to work with, and I think a lot of people, including myself, would have preferred that over a fans versus favorite season. Secondly, it is a bold take to say that this is the best possible cast of fan favorites when Allie is on the roster and wrecks the whole thing. In what universe is Allison Amber a fan favorite? I have been a part of this community for quite some time, and throughout my travels, I have only met two, count 'em, two Allie fans. The first is my friend Mage, who really shouldn't count because I think she mostly enjoys Allie ironically, but I guess that does count for something. The second is WG Broske, who I will not be speaking ill of in this section because in the few times we've actually spoken, he has been nothing but kind and respectful towards me. So if you're watching this, Broske, I'm sorry that I'm about to diss your girl, but in my defense, I have watched Disventure Camp All-Stars twice over, and have analyzed Allie's character more than most people in this fandom, I'd wager, so I think I've earned this. I am confident that Allie is not a fan favorite because, with minor exception, nobody fucking likes her. I'd like to know what compelled OddNations to give Allie a third place run in All-Stars, where she spent 80% of her screen time fighting with Jake, only to make this cast and go, you know who I think the fans would really like to see make a return? I don't know why OddNations is British. Outside of the scrapped idea to make Lake a part of the Hunter harem in Season 2, Allie and Jake's rivalry is the one plotline that no one likes. I think she left All-Stars with a worse reputation than when she went in, which is fucking crazy considering when she went in, the only thing people knew her for was, thank you, I'm going there. As much as I really don't like that Tom and Spencer are a part of this cast, they still have good things about them that you could potentially make into a new and interesting storyline. Allie's crowning achievement was being in a throuple with Tess for like an episode, until All-Stars retcon that relationship. All in all, I think it's very strange that she's in a cast of favorites when the majority of Disventure Camps probably wouldn't even want her to be in the season. The point I'm trying to make here isn't that Allie is the worst character ever and that her being here is going to ruin the season, but I think that her and 6 other All-Stars making up more than half of this cast is really wasted potential. But it wouldn't be fair for me to come down on this cast if I didn't offer my own solutions, so I've come up with my own list of 12 characters that I think could make for a good returnee cast. And I'm mainly running off the idea that a character doesn't necessarily have to place well to be a potential favorite. I've opted to keep Alec, Fiore, Rosa, Lake, and Natalia because I do think that they're pretty good options for this season, and I think there's a lot that could be done with them. I swapped out Tom and Gabby for Nick and Lil because while they did get eliminated relatively early in Season 1, I know that a lot of people want one or both of them to return, and I think this would be a good place to have that happen. I swapped out Allie for Tess because, let's be honest, Tess needs a return a lot more than Allie does, and I think 90% of you will agree with me on that. I think Aiden could work with this cast depending on what they want to do with them, but for my cast, I decided to replace him with Hunter purely because Aiden made it farther in All-Stars. He has Tess to work off of, and hey, Fiore's here, you could pick up that rivalry if you want. I feel like if Benji is going to be in the season, you might as well include Tristan too. I think it makes sense because of Tringy, but at the same time, Tristan is like the one pre-merge character that is indisputably a fan favorite. So I think people would like to see these two come back as a duo. That leaves Alessio, who I've decided to put into this season as a wild card that you wouldn't expect, kinda like Ashley in All-Stars. I understand that casting the first boot into a season titled Fans vs. Favorites is going to raise a few eyebrows, but hear me out. He has the setup for a return. And he'd be competing with Natalya, so we get to see more of that dynamic. That's why I think he has merit in this cast, but if the idea of a first boot being here is a little too much for you, I think Linda could be a very nice substitution. I don't know, I think this is a pretty good cast, but feel free to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. And I think that's pretty much everything I have to say about this cast reveal. The only thing I haven't really talked about is that mystery spot, which is confirmed to be someone still competing in the current season. But honestly, out of everyone in the final 7, the only one that I really think needs this spot is Amelie. Jade and Isabel don't need it, Anastasia definitely doesn't need it. If it's Logan, I'm actually going to have a conniption fit. Zayd, no way they bring him back, they clearly don't care about him enough. And Jared accidentally leaked on Twitter that Hannah's not coming back, so that's kind of funny. So I've said my piece on this cast, but what do you all think? Feel free to leave your thoughts on this cast and anything I may have said in this video in the comments below. And with any luck, I will have this video uploaded before the topic stops being relevant. I'm still working on BFDI hot takes, I promise I haven't forgotten about that, so if you're gonna leave a comment about that, don't. If you like this type of content and want to see more, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help out a lot. And I think that is actually everything. Goodbye.